Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are taking a look at the Tier 7 French cruiser, the Algérie, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, but anyway, we are playing on New Dawn. We have a Colorado, Hood, Scharnhorst, Bayern, Fuso, Algérie, 2 Nürnbergs, 2 Furry Tacos, a Nevny, and a Kamikaze on the enemy team. There is 2 Hoods, Gneisenau, New Mexico, Bayern, York, Emerald, Königsberg, Furutaka, Farragut, Gade, and then Kamikaze R. And I have to say, I kind of like the French cruisers. They're nice. They are really nice. They have very weak armor. Although the Algérie does have the thickest armor as far as the Tier 7s are concerned. I will have to say there's one thing I really do like about this French cruiser. Let's see if I can actually get back here. Okay, there we are. You can see back in the stern of the ship, there are actually 3 park benches. I just found it rather hilarious that there are park benches on the Algérie. I guess the French need to relax every now and then when they are sailing around. We are now detected, and as you can see, we have a Hood and a Furutaka retreating back. We do have a friendly Gnevny pushing out, which is good. And fortunately, since my captain does have the skill which allows me to figure out whether or not someone's actually aiming at us, I am able to sail fairly broadside, but obviously now we are being aimed at, and there is a Kamikaze R, our very first victim. We do get a few decent hits and take a few hits from the enemy Hood, and obviously since the Bismarck campaign is occurring right now, and there is a special benefit if you run the Hood. The Hood is fairly popular for Tier 7s right now. Now, unfortunately, we get a slight dispersion on that Gneisenau now, so we don't land any hits. And here's one good thing about the French cruisers is their speed. When you have that engine boost going, you are the fastest Tier 7 cruiser there is. So it allows you to get zipped around. But as you can see, as I'm making this turn right now, I am losing quite a bit of speed, about 8 or so knots slower than I would be otherwise. Few minor hits on the Gneisenau now, and fortunately for me, there are actually 2 smoke screens. I'm able to kind of stay behind and kind of relax and not have to worry about being shot at, which is always a good thing. Shots are out on this Gneisenau now. There is still that Kamikaze R around here somewhere. And we do get a few minor shells breaking, but that's alright. Fortunately for the Tier 7, having 203 millimeters really does help, and we do get a fire on that enemy Gneisenau now, but unfortunately for us, this Kamikaze is going to get away fairly unharmed. Looking possibly at dropping torps. Torps are a slight benefit, hoping this Gneisenau now would just come around this corner, but I don't think we're going to be that lucky. Now, with the situation right now, that we don't have a lot of support over here. We do have a Bayern and actually 3 battleships right behind us, and they're firing at range, so that's, you know, always helpful. We are detected, and we have, it looks like, 2 ships focused on us at the moment. Definitely want to get some distance between me and this enemy Gneisenau now, hoping to get a fire, and maybe we will. We'll see if we can. One little side note as we're focusing on this New Mexico. This New Mexico, kind of keep an eye on him. We'll see how things go for him later on. Has anyone noticed that for whatever reason detonation has increased? I've seen more and more detonations against cruisers, against destroyers, against battleships. I've seen a Bismarck get detonated. I got detonated as my Minotaur, which is something I've never seen, at least with my Minotaur. Got detonated by Hipper AP, and it looks like we are taking shots from, I believe, the Königsberg. Let's see, yep. I believe that's the Königsberg's shells right there. But yes, I got detonated by a Hipper with AP and just slightly irksome because I never thought I would have to get detonation flag for my Minotaur. But anyways, back to the Algérie. There is a enemy Königsberg selling broadside. Do have the AP up and loaded. Hoping to get a good citadel on him. And Königsberg is a very, very easy citadel. Looks like he has actually sped up. And we only get a few over penetrations and one ricochet, which is not the greatest, but it looks like the enemy team have pushed quite heavily on the southern side of the map. There are most of their battleships, I believe 2 of the hoods, and we get a citadel. See, there we got a nice, beautiful little citadel. So here the Algérie kind of works very well. You can see I'm fairly far away from the closest enemy battleship and just raining down HE, and we get a fire on that Bayern. It looks like he does go ahead and remove it, which is actually a good thing because there's only one fire, and this is something you should never do as you are a battleship and can actually take that HE and heal it. So never heal one fire because more than likely you will get more fires. Now, torpedoes are incoming probably from the Kamikaze R. Looks like he smoked up right there, right very close to our base. The friendly hood does catch sight of them, and it does slow down and is able to miss them. But not every battleship captain is self-aware of the situation around him. Oh, good lord. I know what's about to happen, and it's just like, really? So, unfortunately, we have lost our very first cruiser. Actually, we've only lost one ship in this entire game, and we're already 7 minutes into the battle. And here we have an enemy hood just reversing up. Don't exactly know why. He's probably concerned about that Scharnhorst. This Scharnhorst is pushing out. Obviously, the Scharnhorst does have torpedoes, which can prove very devastating against battleships. And the Bayern just keeps on sailing. Granted, he probably didn't have a lot of time to dodge all these torpedoes, but he probably should have been aware of the situation that there was a destroyer sitting within that smoke screen. We do have a Nevny dropping torps. Maybe this Nevny might be able to actually land a few torps and get rid of that destroyer. That would be nice. I do kind of look at the enemy Bayern. Looks like he is pushing it down quite heavily, and fortunately for us, the Nevny actually takes out the Kamikaze with torpedoes, something you don't see every single day. And here is just something rather funny about this match, is gonna be my placement, where I'm gonna be spending essentially the rest of the battle, and it is going to be in this spot right here. I go ahead and slow up. No one's targeting me. That is a very useful captain skill. Allows you to figure out whether you need to really dodge around. And keep aware, I am fully detected. There's nothing that is preventing these battleships from firing at me. And we get another fire on this enemy hood. And we get a torpedo on the Bayern. Looks like he is starting to flood to death, which is good. And another fire on the enemy hood once again. So 2 fires burning quite nicely on that hood, and our damage is slowly starting to rack up. I think this Bayern is still flooding to death, and we get the kill, and we set another fire on the hood. And this is once again, this is what the French cruisers are fairly good at, is setting fires, very similar to how Japanese cruisers are. Now it gets into the whole question on, there are 3 lines, possibly you could even say 4 if you want to count the USN, but they're kind of finicky on their HE. Not saying that they cannot start fires, but obviously there are 3 major lines that are really good at firing HE and setting fires, and another 2 fires on this hood. And keep an eye on the detected. You can see when I am going to be focused on, and at the moment I have yet to be even looked at, and I've been fully detected this entire time. So yeah, this hood is just taking the beating from my fire, is slowly burning to death, and we get a 3rd fire, which is just damning against that hood. You can see his health is just dropping down very, very quickly. And this is probably where you probably need to actually try to focus, try to get that fourth fire, but I think this hood is going to go down, and it is time to switch targets right now. There is the other hood, and we are losing ships. The enemy team, and we've just earned arsonist too, the enemy team is ahead in ships compared to us, and they are still pushing against our flanks, and this hood is gonna feel the burn on from the French cruiser right now. And I'm gonna pop up this GIF just because it's funny and so true. But there are 3 lines going back to the ships that fire HE, and our good fire starters are obviously the French cruisers. The Japanese cruisers are fantastic, and the Russian cruisers are as well. And I don't know, it's debatable whether or not there's too many, but at the exact same time, this is the only way French cruisers can really do a significant amount of damage against battleships is HE. So it is debatable, but at the exact same time, I can understand frustration from battleship captains, and we have earned Confederate. And here I'm trying to get used to the firing arcs on the French cruisers, and looks like he slowed up just a bit. Actually, probably just turned in a little bit more, and the AP and the firing arcs, or better yet, the firing arcs themselves are fairly decent. They're not as straightforward as, say, the Shores or the Japanese can be sometimes, and we get a Citadel on that Königsberg and leaves him with only 1,000 points of health, and I'm hoping to get a 3rd kill. That would be fantastic, but unfortunately for us, the hood on our team does take out that Königsberg. Now we have lost our other Furataka. We have lost all the ships on the northern side that was pushing in towards their base, so that was an unfortunate setback. Now, our situation at the moment is very close. We are 3 ships. They do have a destroyer advantage. We do have battleships advantage, and there is this Furataka. Can we get this kill? He's burning quite nicely, and we earn Wither and High Caliber all at once. And come on, kill number 3. That would be fantastic. And I think it's actually a good time to actually get moving. This Furataka is now dead, and we have earned kill number 3. And now the enemy New Mexico is pushing south. Can we get a 4th kill? That would be superb. Now going to the ship itself, the negative aspects is when she is not using the engine boost, she is the slowest. She feels very sluggish in the water. Her Citadel is quite high, which is nothing too extravagant. Obviously, the Pensacola is very well prone of having that horrible Citadel that everyone instantly sees the Pensacola and instantly shoots at it. Now we are detected by this New Mexico. Torpedoes are away, and they do have a 9-kilometer range. At least you do have 3 versus 2 compared to the galley. And we have set a fire on this enemy New Mexico. And it looks like he is focused on the hood, which is good for me because now I can sell a little bit less, aggressively, having to dodge shots. It does look like he has used damage control, and the friendly Gade is coming in to assist his teammate, hoping to get a torpedo. Can we get kill number 4? It looks like he is trying to drop a smoke screen for the friendly battleship, but unfortunately for him, we do take him out with our torpedo. And we are 1 kill away from Kraken Unleashed, and I would love to get Kraken Unleashed right now. The hood is fairly close to the enemy destroyer. Fortunately, he does dodge those torpedoes and is just safely sailing without any concern for the torpedoes. Alright, there is the enemy Gade. And can we get kill number 5? I do ask in chat, can I have this kill? I am 1 kill away from Kraken Unleashed, and he is very low on health. His engine is knocked out, and this should be the killing blow right about now. There we go, Kraken Unleashed. So our team earned a victory. We brought home 332,981 silver, 4,468 XP. We earn Wither, Arsonist, Confederate, Kraken Unleashed, and High Caliber. We did 152,079 points of damage, 164 shell hits, 2 torpedo hits, which is something you don't see all too often, but it can happen, obviously. 5 kills, 12 fires, and 2 citadels. We earned top of the team with a base XP of 1,921. We did 54,000 to the enemy hood, around 18,000 against the Bayern, around 13,000 against the New Mexico, and around 9,000 against the Furutaka. Overall, our high explosive shells did 60,793, armor piercing did around 18,000, and torpedoes did around 10,000. But look at the fire, 56,400 points of damage from fire and 6,762 from flooding. Yeah, I can definitely see why French cruisers can be very potent. They can set those fires very similar to how Japanese cruisers are with that fire chance, so it is definitely very beneficial. After everything was said and done, 239,481 silver, very profitable game for the Algérie. And I will have to say I'm liking the French cruisers, but let's quickly go take a look at the stats. See you there in port. Alright everyone, welcome to the port, and we're going to quickly take a look at the stats. Now the Algérie is not a bad ship. She's actually fairly formidable. Most basic things that make her really good is she does have the best armor compared to the other tier 7 ships. She also has a really good range on her guns, but there's also some negative things. But let's actually quickly take a look at the stats. Now, do keep in mind this is a stock version. This is what you'll be getting when you first get to the tier 7 French cruiser. Starting off, you have 29,700 points of health, which is alright. Right now, she's... well, if you compare it to any of the other stocks, she's kind of mid-range as far as her health points. Now, her armor is fairly nice, 110 millimeters at the thickest, but she does have a very high citadel and kind of boxy. So, especially up here where the guns are very easy to penetrate this area, so you can get citadel. That's obviously the one bad thing, and obviously the French cruisers have spaced armor, so does allow for a little bit of protection, but not very much. Very most 110 millimeters. She does have 16% torpedo protection. Now, moving on to the guns themselves, let's actually take that off. You have 4 main guns, 4 dual 203. So you go from triple, having 2 in the front, 2 in the bow, 1 in the stern, to having 2 in the bow section and 2 in the stern. So granted, you do have additional guns, but the firing arc on the guns are fairly lousy. You do have to show off a lot of broadside just to get them to bear. The reload time is lousy, 12 seconds. I guess very similar to the Miyoko's. Miyoko, once fully upgraded, has 14 seconds, so it's very similar, but still that slow rate of fire is very consistent when you compare it to the tier 4 through the 7. Very slow reload time. You don't ever get that fast pace like the Cleveland. So her guns reload decently, not the slowest, but definitely not the quickest. Turn time on the guns is 23.4 seconds. Max dispersion is 135 meters. Now, the French cruisers are very well known for having very low vertical dispersion. They're fairly level mostly, which is actually a really good thing. Max HE damage is 2,800 with a 19% fire chance, and you're going to be slinging a lot of HE most times. You can use AP, especially against broadside cruisers like that Königsberg, as you saw, can really feel the sting from your AP, but most times against battleships especially, HE is what you're going to be slinging. AP damage will do around 4,800. And the range on the guns at stock is 16.3 kilometers. Now, the velocity is 820 meters per second. Not the quickest, but definitely not the worst. So you can definitely sling that HE at range, and that's normally how you want to be playing these French cruisers, is being a support class vessel, not pushing in quite as heavily as some other cruisers can, and just supporting your battleships kind of further at range so you don't get hit by any battleships that look at you the wrong way. The torpedoes are nothing too special. You do get one additional torpedo compared to the galley. You have two triple 550 millimeters with a 9-kilometer range. They require 90 seconds to reload and will do max damage of 14,833. And they are only detected at 1.3 kilometers, and they go about 60 knots. So not the worst torpedoes. They are kind of sluggish in the water. They do have a very decent range, so you can definitely use that for your advantage. And once again, obviously, they're nothing compared to like the Miyoko. The Miyoko has 4 torpedo tubes, 3 each, so 12 torpedoes total, compared to the Algérie's only 6. So definitely something to keep in consideration. Your torpedoes are an asset that you can use if a situation is applicable. The AA defense is not the greatest. She's probably one of the worst as far as AA is concerned. Now you can obviously buff this with additional captain skills. You have 4 single 13.2 millimeters. They have a range of 1.2 kilometers. Average damage is 10. Then you have 4 quad 13.2 millimeters. Average damage is 20 with a range of 1.2 kilometers. Then you have 4 dual 37 millimeters. Average damage is 9 at a range of 3 kilometers. And then your secondaries, which you do have secondaries. Actually, I kind of forgot. Once again, it's something you don't see all too often using. Average damage is 41 with a range of 5 kilometers. Right now, when you first get her stock is fairly bad. Once you upgrade the hull, you will get improved AA defense, which is very beneficial, but you are nothing compared to, say, the Pensacola or even the Stores with their AA defense. But still, overall, not too bad. Maneuverability is it's a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is she's at the moment 31 knots, is the slowest cruiser as far as tier 7. But with the French cruisers, they do have the engine boost module, and this engine boost module will actually allow you to go faster than any other tier 7 cruisers. So it's a double-edged sword. You can go really fast in a limited amount of time, but once you lose that engine boost, you will become the slowest cruiser and be a little bit easier to actually hit. Rudder shift time is 10.7 seconds, so not too bad, but she does have obviously the issue with being the slowest, but also being the fastest at the same time. Concealment is at 11.8 kilometers, which is about average. She's not the stealthiest, but she's definitely not the worst contender as far as concealment is concerned. So there is always that, and the detectability range by air is 7.1. Now moving on to the modules, this is what I have gone for the additional modules that you can apply. I have gone for main armaments mod 1. I went for aiming systems mod 1, very beneficial for your guns, because without it, they tend to disperse quite everywhere. I accidentally had the wrong module on. Then go for steering gears modification 1. Highly recommend this, because most times what I've experienced is the rudder always seems to get knocked out, so go for this, very beneficial. And then obviously I went for a steering gears modification 2. Maybe on the captain hasn't changed all that much from the galley. These are what I definitely would recommend if you are just starting off with the captain. Possible contenders on what you can do is obviously get superintendent, gives you extra charge, very beneficial. You can go for adrenaline rush or even last stand. Last stand will prove beneficial because once again your rudder or your engine tends to get knocked out, and this will allow you at least to keep maneuvering and keep going. So very beneficial to have these two. Another thing you could possibly go is direction center for catapult, so you get additional catapult aircraft, but obviously reduces the speed of the aircraft by 20%. So those are a few things to keep in mind. I will keep working on the captain as I go along, and we'll see how it goes. But anyways, this is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.